looking crazy, a storm on the horizon, the pressure is low, gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the face. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for a crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
We'll get this show on the road, guys. I think we shall. We welcome you here to our program tonight. My name's Ron Tyler. I'm the president of your Emergency Management Associates. We're here for you every day, Monday through Friday, starting sometime around 4 p.m., between 4 and 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. We're here for you. Right now, it's just 5 p.m. We're here on the dot, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Actually, 5:09 Eastern Time. Sorry about that, guys. We've been very busy today. Very, very busy. Now, guys, when I say busy, I wake up early in the morning, okay? Very early in the morning. My day started about 7 a.m. this morning. Ever since then, we've had earthquake after earthquake around the globe. And the USGS is not even putting tabs on it anymore. They're not telling the truth at all. Not at all, unfortunately. Now, Hurricane Heather's got to go walk her dog for a few minutes. We're glad that she's going to be here. Welcome, Hurricane. Be safe out there. We welcome you back. My dear friend Laura from Oregon with her husband John, we welcome you here as well. Thank you for being here. Renee Stevie's here from North Carolina. Yay, Renee! One of our weather gals. Welcome here. Welcome, welcome. Demon Catman from the east of England is here. Welcome, Demon Catman. We're glad to have you here. Thank you for being here, guys. We appreciate all of you here. Now, I want to ask everybody up front, please, if you enjoy our broadcast, please give us a thumbs up, letting YouTube know that you appreciate our program. YouTube uses that thumbs up as a kind of a gauge, one of the analytical factors to determine whether they're going to let anybody see our program or not. Another thing you need to do is leave a comment in the comment section just below this video after this video is over. They also look at that. Look at all kinds of factors, guys. We want you to be here. Also, please be here for longer than 5 or 10 minutes. If you're here for only 5 or 10 minutes, you're not going to get anything out of this program. We have a lot of information to give you. We're going to be talking about earthquakes around the globe. We're going to talk about earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest, including volcanoes, guys, including volcanoes. We're also going to talk about what's happened in Minneapolis. Things have really changed since yesterday afternoon. Lots of changes, okay? I want to also recognize 3 people who died for this country. 3 people who died for this country. Now, guys, a lot of people don't even realize what happened back in 1967. 1967. What do you think happened? What do you think happened, guys? 62 years ago. 62 years ago, guys. 3 men were in Florida. 3 men were in Florida. What were they doing? Can anybody give me an idea what 3 men in Florida were doing? What were they doing, guys? They climbed aboard a spacecraft. They climbed aboard a spacecraft. The first Apollo 1 spacecraft. One of my friends, Edward White. I call him my friend because I truly believe he would have been a friend of mine had I known him better. I was only maybe 13 years old when this happened. 13 years old when this happened. Still a young guy. Edward White is the man in the center of this photograph. Gus Grissom is on the left-hand side. Roger Chaffee is another astronaut here on the right side. Gus Grissom on the left is one of the first 7 Mercury astronauts. Mercury astronauts. That's when a spacecraft only had 1 man aboard it. It was one of the original 7 Mercury astronauts. Ed White was an astronaut during the Gemini program, meaning 2 men aboard the spacecraft. Both Gus Grissom and Ed White had flown together back in about 1964, 65, during the Gemini program. Roger Chaffee is the man on the right-hand side. He was a brand new astronaut. Brand new astronaut. All 3 of these men were aboard Apollo capsule on the launch pad, doing a dress rehearsal for a launch on board the Apollo spacecraft on top of a great big huge rocket. At that time, it was the largest rocket the men had ever seen launching men into space. The Saturn V launched men to the moon. This was a dress rehearsal here. Let me play this information for you, coming from space.com.
January 27, 1967. The Apollo 1 Fire by Alyssa Necker.
Kaylee Cuoco and Sam Claflin star in the MGM Plus original series, Vanished. When the man Alice loves disappears on a train to the south of France, every romantic memory, Vanished, premieres February 1st on MGM Plus. Finding the truth is a dangerous affair.
The first piloted Apollo flight, called Apollo 204, though it would later be known as Apollo 1, was intended for tests in Earth orbit, part of the eventual path to later Apollo missions going to the moon. The mission was crewed by Gus Grissom, America's second man in space, Ed White, the country's first man to conduct an EVA, and first-time astronaut Roger Chaffee. The spacecraft was a Block 1, designed from a different contractor than the one that had built the Gemini vessels, and was criticized for flaws, including faulty wiring. In an additional change, NASA had mandated that the atmosphere of the capsule be pure oxygen, rather than an oxygen-nitrogen mix. On January 27, 1967, the crew members were inside the command module of their spacecraft at Launch Complex 34 for a pre-flight countdown simulation. The test had been plagued by communications problems, prompting Grissom to complain. "How are we going to get to the moon if we cannot talk between 2 or 3 buildings?" At 6:31 p.m., A fire broke out, likely in the wiring under Grissom's seat. The pure oxygen environment and plethora of combustible items accelerated the fire in seconds and added toxic fumes to the dense smoke. Though the astronauts attempted to escape, opening the hatch required releasing multiple bolts with a special ratchet. It was a process that took a minute and a half, even without the internal pressure of the fire sealing the inward opening hatch in place. The 3 men died of asphyxiation, probably within seconds. After the tragedy, crewed launches were suspended for a year, and a review board led to significant safety changes to hatch design, cabin atmosphere, and the flammability of the materials in the spacecraft. Launch Complex 34 was deactivated, and today serves as a memorial to the 3 fallen astronauts.
This is a Monday.com ad. The same Monday.
Okay, guys, again, 3 astronauts, January 27th, 1967. The first Apollo spacecraft on board a Saturn V rocket. This is supposed to be a dress rehearsal for going around Earth for the first time in an Apollo capsule. These 3 men were seated in and belted in the spacecraft. Didn't have a chance to escape. Not one chance to escape. Again, things were happening inside the spacecraft. They were having a very hard time communicating with the blockhouse, which is a central computer area that was supposed to be able to run the spacecraft once it was launched. They're supposed to be able to run the entire mission from Kennedy Space Center. They couldn't do it. They couldn't communicate. Gus Grissom reported that he was frustrated with what was going on. Then suddenly, just not a short time after that, all of a sudden a fire broke out. Wiring inside the spacecraft. Some wire was bare. One of the wires behind Gus Grissom's seat was bare. And all of a sudden it sparked a flame. The spacecraft had pure oxygen inside the spacecraft, which was giving the astronauts oxygen during the test. That spark, fueled by pure oxygen being pumped in the spacecraft, was what happened. And all of a sudden there was a huge fire and incinerated those astronauts. The first 3 astronauts in the U.S. space program ever to die during any training or any other launch. Ever. First 3. After that, we lost 2 crews aboard a space shuttle. But this was the first 3 astronauts ever killed in the U.S. space program. January 27th, 1967. I paid tribute to these men. I watched things happening on the ground right after I got home. My parents had taken us shopping. As soon as while we were out shopping, I was listening on my portable transistor radio in my pocket about what was going on the launch pad. They lost their lives. When I got home, I was watching on TV. I was a big space nut. You could call me a space freak. I really was. When I was in diapers as a young child, during the Mercury program, when there was 1 astronaut going up into space, including Gus Grissom, I watched from my parents' living room on a black and white TV. From that point in time, I watched every manned spacecraft launch in our history. Every time a man has gone into space, I've watched the launch and watched almost the entire traveling through space. I can even give you ideas, actually not ideas, I can quote what happened on Apollo 11 as the spacecraft lunar module was landing on the moon. Unreal. God bless our astronauts. God bless everyone. We love these guys. Our nation pays tribute to Gus Grissom on the left, Ed White Center, and Roger Chaffee. NASA astronauts lost their lives this day, January 27th, 1967. Thank you, guys. We love and appreciate you. Now, last night, actually yesterday afternoon, Governor Walz from Minnesota had called President Trump, asking for President Trump's help. Yeah, believe it or not, Walz asked for President Trump's help. President Trump says, "What the hell? What's going on? You and your mayor of Minneapolis is causing the problems." All of a sudden, they got down to brass tacks. The next thing you know, what happened last night? Let's show you what happened last night. This is Dr. Steve on YouTube, and he's going to show us what happened in Minneapolis last night. Things really changed. Dr. Steve Turley here.
It happened. Governor Tim Walz finally caved.
You are now under arrest. Please sit down and wait for instruction.
Last night, Minneapolis police were unleashed, ordered by the governor himself to crack down on the protesters. After weeks of calling ICE agents Gestapo and comparing illegal migrants to Anne Frank, the Minnesota governor is now begging to cooperate with the very administration he declared war against less than 48 hours ago. And what we're about to reveal explains exactly why. Because the walls just closed in on the biggest coordinated insurrection in modern American history, and it's Democrats who are finally going down. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. The scenes from last night were frankly stunning. Minneapolis police officers who've been ordered to stand down by feckless, lawless Democrat politicians these past 6 weeks were finally unleashed to do the very job they all signed up for: restore and maintain law and order. The protesters across Minneapolis were clearly stunned. They simply weren't prepared to get wrestled to the ground and put in handcuffs by the very local law enforcement that stood by and allowed their antics for so long. So what happened? Well, a single phone call with President Trump. That's what happened. Trump and Walz had a, quote, very productive phone call yesterday that apparently has changed everything. Now, what we know is that going into that phone call, the Trump administration received information on infiltrated encrypted signal chats that were orchestrating these riots. And what they found was that the signal chat network didn't just involve clueless left-wing lunatics who had nothing else to do but harass ICE agents. No, the network included Minnesota government officials and even members of Tim Walz's own administration. For example, Amanda Kohler, a campaign strategist for Walz, has been featured prominently within the network as an active participant. Evidence actually suggests Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan may have been involved at the highest levels. And here's the kicker. Investigators found donor lists showing foreign money funding these organizations. You heard that right. Foreign involvement in a coordinated effort to obstruct federal law enforcement.
Folks are dying from strain.
Okay, it's unreal. This should never happen. This never should happen. We told you about George Soros. He and his son have supplied some of that money from foreign governments to aid in the destruction of this country. It's not just Minneapolis, guys. It's in Chicago. It's over in New York. It's over in Los Angeles. It's over in Austin, Texas. Over in Chicago. all over the United States. Money's flowing. Roy Singham, we talked about 2 weeks ago, was also supplying money to these antagonists, to the protesters. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. If I were a protester, do you think I'd show up at a protest with a GUN? Do you think I should have shown up at a protest with a GUN under my belt? No. That's what Mr. Pretty, Alex Pretty, did. A protester. Now it's been found out he is one of the main protesters, and unfortunately he lost his life because he was playing stupid games. Playing stupid games. He goes to a protest with a GUN, a NUG. Whether he intended on using it or not, he did pull it. He did pull that weapon. There's video out showing that he pulled that weapon. It's very, very bad. It's very graphic, and I'm not going to show it on this program. But there is evidence to suggest that he pulled his NUG out on federal officers. There was one round fired before federal agents even opened fire. There were 5 shots that rang out. The first one came from someone else besides the federal agents. Then there were 4 more rounds fired. And then Mr. Pretty was laying on the ground. Got way out of hand. This could have ended a lot sooner than it had. Unfortunately, Renee Good also got hit. Played stupid games. You win stupid prizes. Some more information has come out about her today. Her girl that she apparently said that they were married was wrong. The woman that was outside her vehicle telling Renee Good to gun it. Drive, drive, drive. That woman was not married to Renee Good. She was living with Renee Good. She was a partner to Renee Good. Nothing more than that. There is no wedding announcements. There's no wedding certificate. No marriage license at all. They were living together. 2 years ago, Renee Good filed for a name change, telling the judge that she wanted her name changed to go along with her partner. That's why she had the name of Good. Not even married. There's also, since her death, been a GoFundMe that's now up to over $1.5 million. Lawyers are involved now. It's unclear what's going to happen at this point in time. The partner has been in jail as well because the records show that she was implicated in telling Renee Good to go and take off with her car. Not following the agent's examples, not following the agent's instructions to stop and get out of the car. She gunned the car, ran into a federal agent, causing him harm, and he fired 3 rounds at her, unfortunately unaliving her. 2 people dead because both of them had to play stupid games. Other officers have also arrested other people over there in the protests, spitting on law enforcement officers. Guys, you don't spit on a law enforcement officer. When I was a cop, back in the 80s and 90s, a couple different times I had people spit on me. Both of those people went to jail. Okay? If you spit on somebody, and you have a disease that can be contagious, or you have a disease that can kill you, i.e. AIDS. AIDS, guys. Back in the day, everyone was scared of AIDS, including law enforcement officers. We wore gloves every time we touched anyone. I was spit on by bad guys. Both of them went to jail. Every time I patted someone down, patted them down for weapons, to find out if they had anything on them that would stick me, hurt me, or to shoot me. Patted them down. Yes, I found weapons, but every time I patted them down, I was wearing rubber gloves, and I was wearing leather gloves over that. Double protection. One morning, one of the few mornings, I think I may have only worked 3 mornings in my 24-year career. Worked 3 mornings. The first morning I worked, guess what happened? I was called to a light rail station in El Cajon, California, East County, San Diego. There was one woman nude on board on a light rail bench. I ran out there. I had El Cajon police back me up. She was there. We got her dress around her, put her over in a jacket, and guess what her jacket had? A needle. I patted the outer part of her jacket down. I had one hand on the inside and one hand on the outside of that jacket. When I patted that jacket down, guess what I had? A needle. I got stuck with my thumb by a needle. A needle. Go figure. Now I ripped my gloves off. El Cajon lady police officer took her to jail for me. I filed charges against her. But she had a needle in her jacket. I went to the hospital as soon as she got in custody, went to a hospital and got tested. The doctor with the magnifying glass went over my thumb very seriously, looked at it very closely. He said he didn't see any break in my thumb flesh, but he said he gave me a scrub, a surgical scrub, and I scrubbed my thumb down with that surgical scrub soap for about 10 or 15 minutes. I washed it off, scrubbed it again, washed it off, rinsed it off. Then he said, you might want to get tested for the next 6 months. I got tested for all kinds of contagious disease for a year. After a year, I gave it up. I was clean. I got lucky. Other officers weren't that lucky. Other officers ended up getting sick and having all kinds of problems. I got lucky. One other time I also got stuck by a needle as well. I got very lucky. But guys, you don't spit on a cop. You go to jail. Have a needle in your jacket, you're going to go to jail. If you interfere with a law enforcement officer that I had done, several people had interfered with me and other cops, they went to jail. That's exactly what should have happened with every one of these protesters. Now they're going to jail. Last night, Governor Walz got Minneapolis police and also the state police in Minnesota to accompany ICE downtown Minneapolis. And as you saw, they told people to sit down where they were at. They were all under arrest. Some people fled. They will be found. There are cameras all over every city. I'm going to tell you this. There are cameras all over every city. Whether the city has the cameras or the individual businesses have cameras, guess what? You're on videotape. You're on video surveillance. If you were involved in one of these protests, you're going to be found. And you're going to go to jail. Don't do it. Don't put your life in danger, and don't put my life in danger or anyone else's lives in danger. You'll go to jail. Plain and simple. Captain Sigerson is in Saskatchewan, Canada. She says in Canada, spitting on anyone is an assault. The same thing here in the United States as well. It is an assault on a law enforcement officer. If you spit on someone else, it's an assault on them. Don't do it. You'll at least get 6 months in jail or even longer terms. Spit on a cop, you're going to go to jail for up to a year, maybe longer. Maybe longer. Don't do it. Use your common sense. Yes, I understand common sense is very, very critical right now. Not a lot of people have that, unfortunately. Demon Cameron says it's assault in the UK as well. Spitting is nasty. It really is. Now, guys, when I had arrested drunk drivers, when I had arrested other people who were violently drunk, I put them in the back of my car. Yes, I had a steel cage behind my front seat of my car, but people were still spitting at me. There were some times when I had to burn my uniforms because they were so soiled by these bad guys and women. It wasn't just men, it was women as well, spitting on me and all kinds of stuff. I couldn't get my uniforms clean or they wouldn't stink. Had to burn them, had to buy new uniforms. That's costly. Can you imagine buying a $25 shirt with your own money? Because the department only supplies 5 shirts a year. 5 shirts a year. So if I lose 1 or 2, I have to pay out of my own pocket for it. Yeah. Cops had to do that. I can tell you of all kinds of circumstances in my 24 years in law enforcement, things happen because of bad guys, people that wanted to play these games. One other time I'll tell you about real quick. My captain, one of my captains that I had, one night after I was supposed to have already gotten off work, we got called back. Right as the mid-watch that started at 10 o'clock, I was on the swing watch from 2 o'clock until 10 or 11 o'clock, but right when I was getting off, we got called back to a bar. There was a brawl. There weren't enough mid-watch officers to handle the situation, so those of us that were still on the swing watch were there, showed up. My captain and I were partnered up. We were wrestling with a sailor, out of control sailor that had a beer bottle in his hand, a broken beer bottle, slashing around trying to go after people, including us. I took my baton and I struck his wrist with my baton. He dropped the bottle. At that point in time, my captain and I grabbed him, brought his arms behind his back, and began cuffing him. At that point in time, his girlfriend, with long fingernails, grabbed the back of my shirt and raked her fingernails down the back of my neck, opening up sores on the back of my neck. For years, guys, I had acne on the back of my neck because of that woman's nails. She went to jail. She went to jail for assault on a police officer. We got pictures, officers took pictures of the back of my neck, opened up the sores, and when I got to the court after that hearing, I believe it was a month later, when I got to court, I had acne on the back of my neck, caused by that woman's fingernails. She went to prison. Assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. Her boyfriend, that sailor, he also went to jail for assault with a deadly weapon, a broken beer bottle. Unreal. Don't play games with cops. Don't play games with anybody. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. Not worth it at all. It happens, but it's not worth it. Don't do it. Don't frickin' do it. Okay? Now, Renee Sevy's here in the chat. She's going over things that are happening on the ground right now. I'm going to go over that as well with you. Okay? A few minutes ago, she put a lake effect snow warning in effect until 7 p.m. tonight. For North Cayuga, Oswego, Jefferson, and Lewis County in New York. Lake effect snow warning. Guys, parts of New York are under 17 inches of snow. Parts of New York are under 17 inches of snow right now. Catherine Sigurdsson said when she was a lot younger, she was in Minneapolis visiting. She loved the city of Minneapolis. I did too. I visited Minneapolis when I lived in Fargo, North Dakota. A bunch of my friends drove there one time. Great time. Now the place is a toilet. It's a toilet, unfortunately. Grateful Girls here from Southern California. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you here. Grateful Girl, don't say goodbye at all. We love you here. Appreciate you here. But things get out of hand, guys. They really do. Now Governor Walz has decided he's going to go along with President Trump. Police are on the street helping ICE do their job, helping arrest these bad guys that are out there. They're going to jail as well. They're also going to be deported from this country. Renee Sevy's put out another lake effect snow warning from Buffalo, New York, National Weather Service until 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday. 1 p.m. Wednesday afternoon, Wayne County, New York. Travel difficulties and poor visibility are expected. Lake effect snow warning. Okay? Be careful out there, guys. Be careful. Huntsville, Alabama. There's a flood warning there. Okay? The Paint Rock River near Woodville is affecting Jackson and Madison counties until late tonight. Flood warning out of Huntsville, Alabama for Paint Rock River near Woodville affecting Jackson, Madison counties until late tonight. Be aware of it, guys. Be careful out there. Out of Memphis, Tennessee, flood warning continues for Buttahatchee River, including Aberdeen until Thursday morning. Now, guys, Nashville's bad. Tennessee, there's over 200,000 people in Tennessee still without power. Unreal. They got hit with snow and ice. Bad deal. Let me show you some pictures here. Really bad situation in Tennessee. Look at this. Trees down, taking power lines down to the ground as well, and the power's arcing off the ice. There is video out of the power lines arcing off the ice. You get anywhere near those power lines and you're on the ice, you're going to get electrocuted. Hundreds of volts of electricity will go through your body and it will kill you, unalive you almost immediately. Don't go there. Stay away from down power lines. Stay away from down power lines, guys. It's not worth it. Okay? Here, the same thing. Tree falls, the power lines come down. Be safe out there. Look at this. A tree came down. This time in front of a house. Occupants of this house got off very lucky. Again, I've seen pictures of these trees falling on tops of homes. I showed you a picture last night out of, I believe it was Tennessee, where trees were all over the tops of homes and people lost their homes. And I don't think anybody's lost their life yet. Look at this out of Nashville, Tennessee last night. Look at the ice here. Unreal, guys. This is no joke. No joke. Travel is still hazardous out here, guys. Doesn't matter whether you're in North Carolina, South Carolina, going up in Virginia, New York, up into Connecticut, Washington, D.C., anywhere, Massachusetts, Maine. Be careful out there, guys. Conditions are still bad. Conditions are still bad. Please be careful. Please be careful. Renee Seffi's also put up a thing about a flood warning for the Big Black River near Bentonia tomorrow afternoon. Minor flood occurring and forecasted. Minor flood warning is occurring and is forecasted. Be safe out there. National Weather Service out of Mobile, Alabama. Flood warning continues for Tombigbee River near Coffeyville Dam, affecting Clark, Choctaw, and Washington counties from Wednesday afternoon through Friday afternoon. Wednesday afternoon through Friday afternoon. Things are bad out there still. That ice is amazing. Now, this afternoon, before I came on this program, one of the reasons I was a little bit late getting on the air is I had to go out and try to get ice off my windshield. Windshield of our car we got back Saturday afternoon. 1 inch thick ice coating my windshield. Fortunately, my windshield is going to be fine. Ice is gone from everything but the very bottom of the window. I can't operate my windshield wipers because there's 1.5 inches of ice over the top of my windshield wipers. Can't get it off yet. Can't get it off. I'm going to have to drive with it on and run my heater on the windshield and try to melt that ice on my windshield wipers. And hopefully between that and the heat from the engine, that ice will melt. Things are bad, guys. Things are bad everywhere. Finally, today, we got a snow plow in our apartment complex. The roads are fairly clear still, but there are some places here in Morganton, North Carolina, where there's still black ice available on the roadway. Black ice available. Why do I say that? Because, guys, there's still melting snow and ice. When that melt occurs and it flows over the roadway, it almost instantly refreezes. The temperature only got to about 35 degrees today. 35 degrees. The roadway temperatures are still 30 degrees. That means that melted ice flows over that cold road and refreezes, especially at night. Tonight, they expect temperatures here in Morganton to be about 8 degrees above zero. 8 degrees above zero. This is going to continue through the weekend. Very cold temperatures after the storm. However, guess what's going to happen Friday night? There's another storm coming across out of Canada all the way down into Texas and going across the entire eastern part of the United States. Snow and blowing snow. They expect not inches but feet of snow. Feet of snow. They're telling us that here we may receive 1.5 to 2 feet of snow here in Morganton by Sunday. By Sunday. As that storm moves eastbound, it's going to stall out. That's why we're going to see a lot of snow over here on the East Coast. The storm's going to stall out, and then we're going to get buried. Everybody, not just me here, me and my family here, everybody, up and down the entire East Coast. Be aware of that. Temperatures are not normal. These temperatures are not normal. These are below normal temperatures. Okay? Things are melting right now, but it's not going to stay that way. Snow and blowing snow is coming in, and it's going to stay for a while. Not inches, but feet of snow. Be aware of that. I want everybody to be aware of that. This is going to become dangerous conditions. Very dangerous conditions, guys. And I'm not joking. I want you to be safe out here. I don't want anybody to be caught up in this. I don't want anybody to be caught up in this. Now, I want to take you up to the, actually before I do that, before I go to the Pacific Northwest, I want to take a look at earthquakes around the globe. We've had some earthquakes around the globe. Now, again, the United States Geological Survey is not going to be talking to us. Not going to be talking to us. They are only showing a handful of earthquakes around the globe. Handful. Literally. This is a very strange beast here. The preeminent seismic agency from the United States of America is not telling the truth. They never have. But the truth is not getting out there at all. They're sugarcoating it, not telling us exactly what's going on here. I'm going to tell you what's going on here, guys. I promise you that. I'm going to take down our webcam here. I'm going to bring up this map so you can truly see what's going on here. Okay? Down here is south in the South Atlantic Ocean. Down here, the South Sandwich Islands here. The South Sandwich Islands here. This is a 5.2 large earthquake. This is a 5.2 large earthquake. The South Sandwich Islands are unoccupied islands. The only time scientists go there are to check on seabirds and the ice in that area. Okay? These earthquakes in the South Sandwich Islands happen because of subduction. Subduction. The Atlantic plate, in this case, subducting under the South American plate. Okay? Notice where this earthquake is. It's on the Antarctic ridge, this Antarctic plate. This seismic energy here is going to go eastward up the Antarctic ridge until it gets to the Mid-Atlantic Fault. The Mid-Atlantic Fault there. Then we're going to see earthquakes probably here in the South Mid-Atlantic sometime in the next few days. Sometime in the next few days. Yesterday we had a 5.3 earthquake right here in the South Mid-Atlantic. South Mid-Atlantic right here. Okay? We fully expect to see more earthquakes up here in the North Mid-Atlantic in the next few days. That's going to happen. Why? Because we have had many, many earthquakes in the last week down here in the South Sandwich Islands. As a result of that, we're going to see more and more earthquakes here in the Mid-Atlantic. And to top that off, as I have explained this before, I want to be perfectly clear about this. Okay? The Mid-Atlantic ridge is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic ridge is expanding like this, which is pushing Africa and Europe in the easterly direction. It's also pushing Greenland, Canada, and the United States and northern Mexico in a southwesterly direction like this. That's why we're getting earthquakes here on the East Coast. That's why we're seeing earthquakes over in the Canary Islands, earthquakes in Africa, earthquakes in Spain, earthquakes in France, earthquakes in Scandinavia as well. It's happening. These earthquakes are going to continue, and I'm going to show you an earthquake over in Greece in just a minute. Earthquakes are happening because the South Mid-Atlantic plate is expanding. Tectonic plate movement is going on. Tectonic plate movement is going on. That's why we're having earthquakes. With the tectonic plate movement, we're also getting earthquakes on the earthquake faults. And earthquakes where we don't normally see earthquakes as well. I want to make that clear. Okay? Now, in Europe, they're hardly showing any earthquakes at all. One lousy earthquake. It's a false statement here. By them showing only one earthquake here, it's a false statement. We have earthquakes over here in Spain. I showed you yesterday we had earthquakes over here in France. We have earthquakes over here in Scandinavia. Norway, Sweden, and Finland. Norway, Sweden, and Finland. We have earthquakes in Poland, Germany, Switzerland. We have earthquakes in Croatia. Earthquakes in Ukraine. Earthquakes all over Italy. All over Bulgaria. All over Bulgaria. All over Greece. 18 earthquakes here in Greece. This earthquake southwest of the Greek islands here, this is a 4.7 earthquake. A 4.7 magnitude earthquake, moderate earthquake. 40 miles west-southwest, Lithuania, Greece. Again, there are islands here. This earthquake is off on the earthquake fault here, right next to the earthquake fault. Nobody felt this quake. The ocean waters of the Mediterranean Ocean, or the Ionian Sea here in this case, the Ionian Sea here, absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. Earthquakes here in Greece, 18 of them, almost daily. Now, they're not showing any earthquakes over here in the Aegean Sea. That's a false statement as well. There are earthquakes here around the islands here. There's still magma flowing beneath the sea here, trying to break through the bedrock, going to the islands, to the volcanoes. One day we're going to have a volcanic eruption here in the Dokines Islands. These islands belong to Greece. Earthquakes all over Turkey. I showed you yesterday where over 150 earthquakes were over here in northwestern Turkey. That's because on Saturday we had a 5.3 earthquake here in northwestern Turkey. Every time you see earthquakes here, swarms of earthquakes, that means a large earthquake is still coming. Still coming. Keep showing you this, guys. I need you to remember what's going on. I need you to remember what's going on. If you go traveling and you're here when an earthquake hits, your life and those of your party may be in danger here. Going over here to Eastern Turkey here. Eastern Turkey. 28 earthquakes here today. Why? Because 3 years ago, February 3rd, 2023, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake, just like we're going to have up in the Pacific Northwest with the Cascadian. Just like that. That earthquake unalived over 5,000 people and injured over 5,000 more. It also opened up a great big huge fissure in the ground, 14 miles long and an 8-story deep fissure. That fissure could house an 18 or 8-story building. Deep, long fissure here, caused by an earthquake. It happens. They're still not reporting any earthquakes here in the Middle East. Nothing. That's also a fallacy. It's a fallacy. There are earthquakes here that they're not talking about. Southeast Asia here. Southeast Asia here, right here. There are earthquakes. They're not showing them. Heck, guess what, guys? Over here in Indonesia. Look here, only in Indonesia here. There are 46 earthquakes here today. 46 earthquakes. And they show us 3 earthquakes. They show us 3 earthquakes here. Off the island of Sumatra, Indonesia. Also on the edge of the plate. The Indonesian plate. This is a 4.7 earthquake. A moderate 4.7 earthquake. Nobody on this landmass felt the earthquake, but there are also earthquakes over here on Sumatra. Plenty of them. Now, just for kicks and giggles, let's take this earthquake fault up here in the Southeast Asia. Let's follow it. This earthquake fault goes over here in the Southeast Asia. Up here in the Myanmar, Burma area. Myanmar, Burma. Last year, we had a 7.4 earthquake here in Myanmar. Massive damage here. People died here in Myanmar. That seismic energy went up here into the Himalaya Mountains. This is also the edge of the plate. The edge of the plate, Himalaya Mountains here. There are earthquakes here as well. Seismic energy goes through the Himalaya Mountains all the way over here to Afghanistan and Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. Earthquakes are here because seismic energy follows the edge of the plate. Follows the earthquake faults, in this case, the edge of the plate. Earthquakes are here, but nobody's talking about it. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. Every time a moderate earthquake hits, 4.0, 4.9 here, buildings collapse. Buildings collapse. Because the buildings are made out of mud. They're made out of mud. They're unreinforced masonry. They collapse. People also live in caves here. They're Bedouin people living in caves here. Caves also collapse here. The roads here are very primitive. When this earthquake hit, they had a 6.1 earthquake hit about 5 or 6 months ago, I believe it was. They tried to get aid into the communities here because building collapses and people in danger, people not having food. The roads here were very unnegotiable. They had a hard time bringing food and aid into these communities because it was way out in the hills. The roads were almost unavailable here. They're still having earthquakes now. Most of these earthquakes here are aftershocks. Aftershocks of that 6.1 very, very shallow quake. Very, very shallow quake. Shallow quakes do more damage than deep quakes. That 6.1 was a very shallow quake. That's why it did so much destruction here. Okay? But again, this energy comes out of Indonesia. Down here in this section of the world, there are 7 different tectonic plates in play here. 7 different tectonic plates in play, including over here in Tonga, Samoa, New Zealand, down here in the Legacy Islands, Fiji, Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands are going over here in Papua New Guinea and Australia as well. 7 different tectonic plates in play here. What does that mean? The reason we have earthquakes here so many earthquakes, is because these tectonic plates are subducting. One fault going under another just like this. One tectonic plate subducting under the other plate like this. That's why we're having so many earthquakes here. And the USGS doesn't do anything justice by not showing earthquakes. Several years ago, I had a woman from Indonesia write me, asking me, Ron, why are we having so many earthquakes here in Indonesia? I explained that, just as I have explained it to you. 7 different tectonic plates are subducting, one under the other here. That causes a lot of earthquakes, doesn't it? Especially since there's so many plates here in the Indonesia area. Right here, you see 2 individual tectonic plates here. Here in Indonesia alone, right in this area. 2 different tectonic plates in this area. That's why we're having earthquakes here. Over in Java early this morning, we had a 5.7 very dangerous large earthquake. 5.7 very dangerous large earthquake here. .7 earthquakes cause damage. They cause loss of life. Many people here in Java, many people all over Indonesia don't have a lot of money. The only people that have a lot of money are in larger towns. Larger towns such as Jakarta here. They have money. But these other people over here in southern Java, that's not the case. It's not the case at all. When a large earthquake like this hits, it's curtains. It's curtains, guys. Their worlds collapse. They have mud huts. They have wooden structures. They have cardboard structures here. They don't make much money at all here. This was a very destructive 5.7 large earthquake, very large earthquake. 5.0, 5.5 is considered to be a large earthquake. 5.6 and above to 5.9 are very large earthquakes. This was one of those. This earthquake over the west right here that I'm about to show you here. Okay, come on. Right there. This is a 4.6 aftershock. 4.6 is a moderate earthquake. In this case, this is the upper side of 4. 4.0, 4.5 can be somewhat destructive because they make pictures and things fall off of walls. They make books and knickknacks fall off of shelves. They make plates and other things in cupboards rattle around and sometimes fall out of cupboards. Large earthquakes make that happen and they will kill you. Large earthquakes will unalive you. This is a moderate earthquake here. Now, guys, I don't know of any small towns anywhere near this earthquake. There probably are people that live in these areas. Let's go check here. Yep, certainly. Look at that. Here's a good sized city. They felt this quake. These people in this city felt this quake. They probably also felt that 5.7. That 5.7 here. Right there. This is in the hilly area of Java, Indonesia. Depending on the bedrock, this bedrock is very dense. The seismic waves flow through this as water. That's dangerous. 5.7 seismic waves can be very dangerous and flow long distances. Waves can flow for long distances. Let's take a look at here at Pakistan, Indonesia here. Guess what? This looks like a large city here. There's going to be casualties in this city here at Pakistan. Okay? That's pretty bad. There are also other earthquakes there as well. USGS is never telling us anything about what's happening here. If I brought out my European map, I can show you other large, or not large, but other moderate earthquakes and smaller earthquakes around this area. It's not just a 5.7 or 4.5 earthquake here. This gets a 4.6. This is incredible. This is incredible. Yet they're hardly showing anything going on here. That's what's sad. Going up here in the Philippines here, we continue to see earthquake activity here. Lots of seismic energy. Look at this earthquake here. This is a 5.3 large quake. 5.3 large quake, 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep here. Then another large quake here. This is a 5.1 aftershock. Right next to 5.3 here. This is a 4.8. This is a 4.7. 4.4 earthquake in Java, Indonesia 4 minutes ago. Like I said, earthquakes keep hitting. This is off the southwest coast of Mindanao, Philippines. For the most part, I don't think anybody on land felt these quakes. The ocean waters of the Philippine Sea absorb the shockwaves of this quake. This one as well. This is a 4.9, 5.0. Also 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. This one to the north, a 5.1 here. 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. To the west here, 4.7 here. In this case, 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. The ocean waters of the Philippine Sea absorb the shockwaves of this quake. There are other earthquakes over here on the east side. USGS is not showing any of those. 3.5, 3.7, 4.2, and 4.5 earthquakes over here on the east side of Mindanao, Philippines. Not showing them. Not showing them. Japan, we have earthquakes here that they're not showing. Going over here to Hokkaido, Japan. Right here. Just offshore from Hokkaido, Japan here. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. 4.5 earthquake. This is 38 miles northeast of Hokkaido. This is far enough offshore, I don't think anybody felt this quake. But over here on the east side, on the fault zone, this is another large 5.0. This one is 71.3 miles deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. Let's go back down here to the South Pacific Islands. Okay? Down here between the North and South Island of New Zealand. Right here. This is another 4.5 moderate earthquake between the two islands. This one was 20 miles west of Foxton Beach, New Zealand, just off the coast of the North Island here. Now, if the North Island here people felt any quake, it was just light shaking. This was a moderate earthquake over here in the Cook Strait. The water here is the Cook Strait here. Okay? I don't believe anybody felt this earthquake. The water here absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. There are earthquakes over here on the South Island. Most of these are small and minor earthquakes. Minor 2.0, 2.9. Small 3.2 to 3.7 here in this case. Small earthquakes. All these earthquakes are on the western side of the South Island. Most of them right here. There are 3 earthquakes further down here to the south, what they call Southland, New Zealand, along the edge of the plate. The mountainous region here is the edge of the plate here. Okay? On the North Island, there are 12 earthquakes on the North Island. Minor 2.0, 2.9. Small 3.0 to 3.9 here. Earthquakes going over here into this ocean here, right here. the Bay of Plenty. The Bay of Plenty opens up to the Pacific Ocean here. There are earthquakes here. There are earthquakes that have been happening all day long here. All day long. We go up here north to the Kermadec Islands that also belong to New Zealand. Many earthquakes that happen here. This one is a 5.2 large earthquake. 5.2 large earthquake, 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. There's also 5.2, 5.3, and 5.1 earthquakes here. Multiple large earthquakes here in the Kermadec Islands. Nobody lives here in the Kermadec Islands at all. The Kermadec Islands are bird sanctuaries. Kermadec Islands here are bird sanctuaries. The only time men go there are to check on the birds. They only can get boats here during high tide. If they went here during low tide, the bottoms of the boats would be torn up on the volcanic rock just beneath the waves. If they go in here to high tide, they have to come out during high tide. Another earthquake further north here. This is south of the Fiji Islands. This also is a 4.2 earthquake. But guess what? This is 555 miles deep. Actually, 555 kilometers deep. This is a very deep earthquake. This is a very deep earthquake. Now for kicks and giggles. Let's go over to the depth of magnitude conversion chart here. Let me take down the USGS map for a minute. Look at the depth of magnitude conversion chart. Let's go over here to the third column. 555 kilometers deep. We're going to have to add a 1.11 to the magnitude of this quake. 1.11 to the magnitude of this quake. What's that going to do? That is going to give us the magnitude of the upcoming earthquake. The magnitude of the upcoming earthquake. This deep quake is going to propagate a larger shallow earthquake. It's going to propagate a 5.3 earthquake. It's going to propagate a 5.3 large earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. That earthquake can happen here in the Fiji area. Could happen up here in Tonga. Could happen over here in the Legacy Islands. Over here into Vanuatu. Over here into the Solomon Islands. Or all the way over here into Papua New Guinea. That 5.3 earthquake. That 5.3 earthquake could also go over here to Chile or Argentina. It could come across the entire Pacific Ocean over here to Chile or Argentina. I don't think it's going to happen that way. I think this energy will stay here in the South Pacific. Again, this is a 4.2 moderate earthquake. 4.2 moderate earthquake here. Going over here to Tonga. Tonga. This is a 4.7 earthquake. 60.9, 61 kilometers deep. 61 kilometers deep. This is a shallow earthquake. 4.7 earthquake here. 39 miles north-northwest of Niafu, Tonga. North-northwest of Niafu, Tonga here. I do not think that anybody felt this earthquake at all, nor did they have any idea that it probably even happened, unless they looked at the USGS map. Okay? Nobody on the island felt any earthquake at all. Nothing at all. Now, let's go up here to the north. This is a 4.1. This also is a fairly shallow earthquake, 122 kilometers deep. 4.1 earthquake, 78 miles northwest of Hiu-Tonga. Northwest of Hiu-Tonga right here. Nobody felt this earthquake here. The Pacific Ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake. Okay? That's what happened here. I'm taking you a little bit all over Europe. I'm not done yet, quite done yet. Let's go over here to Hawaii. I think we need to spend a little bit of time here in the island of Hawaii. Earthquake offshore of Pahala. Loihi. There's an underwater volcano called Loihi here. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. There's also another underwater volcano here called Nahu. Nahu and Loihi are not erupting right now, but there is magma down beneath the surface causing these volcanoes to pop, to not erupt but move. Not erupt but move. Let's go over to the area of Pahala. Out here on the southeastern side of Hawaii. This earthquake here is a 1.6 tremor, just barely off shore, 6 miles east of Pahala. 6 miles east of Pahala, northeast of Pahala. Pahala is a town right here. Earlier, when we first came on the air, you saw Laura Marie in our chat. She has a grandson that graduated from Pahala High School last summer. This is the town of Pahala. South of Pahala here, we had a 1.7 tremor. Nobody feels 1.7 tremors at all. Nobody can feel anything at 2.0, 2.9 either. Those are minor earthquakes. Minor earthquakes. Just west of Pahala here is a 1.8 tremor. Nobody even felt this earthquake either. Further to the west, this is a 4.2 moderate earthquake. 4.2 earthquake here. This is approximately now, Laura Marie, I don't know whether this is accurate or not. USGS says this earthquake is 1 mile northwest of Pahala. I think it's probably more like 2 miles west of Pahala. Okay? But nonetheless, people here in the town of Pahala felt this earthquake. They felt this earthquake. 4.2 moderate earthquake here. Now, this entire area of Pahala, this entire Pahala region here, this Pahala region has tunnels in the crust, tunnels down beneath the surface of the island, magma tunnels, magma chambers, if you will. Way down in the South Pacific Ocean, way down here in the South Pacific Ocean, there is a magma plume coming from the center of the earth here. This magma plume is supplying magma to all the volcanoes around the world. Here in Hawaii, that magma comes over here to Hawaii. The magma chambers down here in this region service all the volcanoes. The magma comes in here to Pahala and goes over here west, to what? Mauna Loa volcano. And just to the northwest, actually just to the west of Mauna Loa here, this is a 2.1 minor earthquake. A 2.1 minor earthquake. Right there. This 2.1 is only 2.1 miles deep. 2.1 miles deep. This is 1.6 tremor. Nobody felt either one of these earthquakes here. Nobody. They were too small to feel. but they happen anyway. Okay. Further over here to the north of Pahala, this is 1.5 tremor. 1.5 tremor. Now, it's very sad to say, they're not showing any earthquakes at all here at Kilauea. Kilauea volcano is here. Kilauea volcano sits in Holly Mau Mau crater here. Holly Mau Mau crater. Kilauea is erupting, and erupting spectacularly. Spectacularly. Guys, one eruption just yesterday reached up to 14,000 feet high. 14,000 foot eruption here at Kilauea volcano. Huge fissure fountain. Huge fissure fountain here. 14,000 foot eruption here at Kilauea. They haven't had such an eruption here at Kilauea in years, a lot of years. Huge eruption here at Kilauea. With these eruptions, they have earthquakes. But again, USGS doesn't want anybody to know what's going on. So they're not showing earthquakes here either. In order to find out about the earthquakes, in order to find out about the eruption, you have to go to the USGS site. You have to go to the USGS Hawaii Volcanoes Observatory. The USGS Hawaii Volcanoes Observatory. To pull up the information also to see the video of the eruption here at Kilauea. They're not going to show any part of it on the map. This is an old picture of Kilauea. This is a very old picture of Kilauea. What you're seeing here is a caldera, the hardened lava floor of the volcano. Over here on the south and to the north, we have active fissures that open up. Active volcano fountaining, lava still flowing. As a result of that lava flowing, the floor of this volcano has gotten higher and higher. As of just a couple of days ago, I saw an article said that this volcano floor is only 50 foot below the rim of the volcano. 50 foot from the rim of the volcano. Over the last several years, the lava here has flowed upwards. In 2019, lava here at Kilauea and over at Pu'u'o to the southeast had completely emptied out. So in the last 6 years, lava has continually poured into this volcano. And now the lava caldera is within 50 foot of the rim of the volcano, which means maybe sometime this year, we might see our first overflow of lava from Kilauea volcano. I don't know whether it's going to happen, but people are saying that. There's talk of lava coming out of Kilauea volcano over off the rim. It's a possibility. Even with these high fountains that are happening, there is a possibility of lava flowing over the side of the volcano. I want to make that perfectly clear. Okay? It can happen. Now, further over here to the southwest from Kilauea, Fern Forest. This is a 1.7 tremor here. 1.7 tremor. Nobody feels tremors. Look where this earthquake is at. Look where it's at. Guys, several years ago, there was talk of this part of the volcano or the island falling into the ocean. It hasn't happened. They don't think it will happen ever, but there is a possibility. This is a lava shelf that is actually separating from the island. There's a fissure that's opened up here. As we have more and more earthquakes, it is very possible this shelf could fall into the Pacific Ocean. I personally don't think it's going to happen for quite a while, but it could. Up here to the north, just south of Leilani Estates, this is a 1.5 tremor here. They say this is also fern forest. Yes, I believe that. But it's also just south of Leilani Estates here. South of Leilani Estates. This green in area, forested area, is Leilani Estates. In the 2019 eruption, again, Pu'o'o and Kilauea had disappearing lava in the volcano. Disappeared, emptied out. Several days went by without any more further volcanic action. Then all of a sudden, fissures opened up here in Fern Forest and Leilani Estates. 24 fissures ended up erupting. 24 fissures erupted. Again, this is an old picture of the Big Island. Here you see lava plumes, volcanic clouds, sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide flowing out of the fissures. And also the lava lake that flowed over the landmass. Lava lake that flowed over the landmass, destroying over 1,500 homes and causing 6,000 people to flee Leilani Estates. Beautiful estate homes here, destroyed because of the lava that erupted here. Now, nowadays, this lava field has cooled. You can actually walk on it now. There still are some homes here, but I don't know. Laura might know, but I don't personally know whether people have rebuilt here in Leilani Estates since that volcanic eruption some 6 years ago. Could happen. I just don't know. Yes, occasionally we will still see earthquakes here in Leilani Estates. That is because magma is flowing through those volcanic fissures underneath the ground, those volcanic chambers underneath the ground. Still going on now. Trish Killian says she's fighting a very bad headache, not winning. Trish, we're so sorry about that. We hope you and Rich are doing well. God bless you. Let me take a minute. We're going to go back to earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest in just a minute anyway. Before we do that, over here at Mount Etna, just northeast of Mount Etna here, north of Hilo, Hawaii, we had an earthquake. This also is a 1.8 tremor here. 1.8 tremor, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep here. Okay. Northeast of Mauna Kea here, northeast of Mauna Kea volcano, and northwest of Hilo, Hawaii. Hilo, Hawaii here. Okay. That's here on the island. I'm going to take a break before I go over to the Pacific Northwest here. I'm going to be talking about earthquakes at the volcanoes. I'm going to talk about earthquakes on land here in Oregon and Washington, and even over here in Northern California. Yeah, Northern California, in the Cascade Mountain Range. In the Cascade Mountain Range here. Okay, earthquakes have hit. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. Before we do that, down at the bottom of your screen, another 4.9, 5.0 hit over near Mindanao, Philippines 15 minutes ago. They continue to hit over there, southwest of Mindanao, Philippines. Earthquakes. Lots and lots of earthquakes. Okay? Right here at the bottom of your screen, you're seeing our PayPal and Venmo addresses going across the bottom of your screen. Our Venmo does not work, but our PayPal addresses do. If you want to help support this program, go over to PayPal, leave us a donation. We'd appreciate it. I haven't seen so far any super chats here on our YouTube channel here. Yes, you can still do super chats here, but be known, 40% of that money goes to YouTube. 40% of that money goes to YouTube. I get 60% of it. If you want to help support this channel, go over to our PayPal and give us donations here to our PayPal. Also here, you see our emails going across here. You can send us comments and questions and ideas, what you want to see on this channel. Right over to our Gmail email address, rltnspdema@gmail.com. You also see our mailing address, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code here is 28655. You can send us a letter or even a card. Inside that letter or card, you can stick a donation, which we greatly appreciate. That will help support our channel and keep our channel on the air. Last month, or I should say last month, the early part of this month, our bandwidth cost $5 more than we were paying before. Bandwidth to broadcast this program went up to $258 a month, just for bandwidth, nothing else. So guys, if you want to help support our channel, please do that. Send us donations to our PayPal and or our mailing address, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code is 28655. We greatly appreciate it. If you send a donation to us, make sure it's wrapped in a letter inside your envelope. The same thing goes for a card. If you want to send us a card, we greatly appreciate that. We love cards, especially Carol. She loves cards. She adores cards. Okay? Stick your donation inside the card and tell us a little about you. Tell us about how you are preparing for emergencies as well, and mail it to us. We greatly appreciate your donation. Thank you for that. We appreciate all of you here. We really do. Now let's go over here and talk about earthquakes over here in the Pacific Northwest. Again, they're not showing much of anything. Almost nothing. Almost nothing. That's a crying shame. That's a crying shame. There are all kinds of earthquakes here in the Pacific Northwest, Washington and Oregon. Washington and Oregon. This earthquake is a 2.1 minor earthquake. Selah, S-E-L-A-H, Washington. 7 miles northeast of Selah, Washington. They say this is the only earthquake here. They are lying through their teeth. They are lying through their teeth. I'm going to show you earthquakes up here in Mount Rainier. I'm going to show you earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. I'm also going to show you earthquakes over here at Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier have had earthquakes. Lots of earthquakes. Lots of earthquakes. Okay? I'm also going to show you earthquakes here at Glacier Peak. I'm going to show you a lot of earthquakes up here at Mount Baker. Mount Baker, guys.
Location, Tajikistan-Shenzhen border region. Class, light, magnitude, 4.8, 11 minutes ago.
Border region of Tajikistan and China, another 4.2 earthquake. Unreal. Now over here at Mount Constitution. We haven't talked about Mount Constitution quite a while. Years ago, when they weren't showing anything going on here at Mount Baker, we decided to show you what was happening here at Mount Constitution. They're about 30 miles apart. What's happening here at Mount Constitution is also happening here at Mount Baker. I'm going to show you earthquakes here happening at Mount Baker today. You see Mount Baker, you're going to see Constitution. Further south here, you're going to see Mount Glacier Peak. You're going to see Mount Rainier. And you're also going to see down here at Mount St. Helens. Further south here, I'm going to take you south of Washington down here into Northern Oregon. Northern Oregon here. What's here at Northern Oregon? What is here in Northern Oregon, guys? Anybody guess? Mount Hood. Good old Mount Hood is here. Mount Hood is not erupting, but Mount Hood is having earthquakes. Why? Because there's magma going into the volcanoes, guys. There's still magma going into the volcanoes, and that's causing earthquakes at the volcano. It's causing fracturing rock to happen inside the volcano, causing earth movement, called earthquakes. Earthquakes. They're happening here as well. Mount Hood is having earthquakes right there. They're not showing anything anymore. Rarely do they. Let's go over further south down here near the coastline. Down here near Toledo, Oregon. Toledo, Oregon. I'd like to say Toledo, Ohio, but this is not Ohio. This is Oregon. West coast of the United States. This is a 2.0 earthquake near Toledo, Oregon. 40 miles, allegedly 40 miles, actually not 40, 4 miles, 4 miles southeast of Toledo. 40 miles southeast of Toledo. There's Toledo right there. 40 miles southeast of Toledo, Oregon. 2.0 earthquake. Okay? Not all at all. Let's go down here. USGS is showing a 2.6 earthquake here. Minor 2.6 earthquake just literally at 7 miles southeast of Port Orford, Oregon. Allegedly 7 miles southeast of Port Orford, Oregon. 2.6 earthquake. Look at this earthquake here. This is a 3.1 main quake here. 3.1 main earthquake here. 7 miles southeast of Port Orford, Oregon here. Unfortunately, these are not the only earthquakes here. They're not the only earthquakes here. Let's take down the USGS map here. Let's take down the map. Let's show you what exactly is going on here. Okay? I want to show you this, guys. This may blow your mind. This might blow your mind. Okay? Let's take a look at the tremor map. The tremor map. The tremor map is not showing anything going on in Oregon or Washington. No tremors. No 1.0 tremors, no 0.1 microquakes, nothing. Interesting. Where are the tremors happening? Where are these tremors happening? Northeast of Eureka, California. Lassen and Mount Shasta. Lassen and Mount Shasta here. These are in the southern part of the Cascade Mountain Ridge. The Cascade Mountain Ridge goes all the way down here to Shasta and Mount Lassen. Includes both volcanoes. Here in this tremor swarm are 199 tremors. 199 tremors here are here. Right here. Usually any given day here on the tremor map, they show 199 tremors all over Washington and Oregon. Usually those earthquakes are going up here into Eugene, south of Eugene, northwest of Medford. That's usually what we see. Occasionally we will see a handful, and I'm saying just maybe a handful, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 tremors down here at the Shasta and Mount Lassen. Every one of these tremors here, 199 of them, are down here at Shasta and Mount Lassen. Nothing here in Washington and or Oregon. Nothing at all. Not a thing. Now, guys, I'm telling you this. When they say there's nothing going on, they are lying through their frickin' teeth. They are lying through their frickin' teeth. What I'm about to show you may blow your mind. It's interesting. Just a few moments ago, when I started talking about the Cascade Mountain Ridge, when I started talking about the Pacific Northwest, earthquakes happening here, we had 40 people watching our program. No, those numbers have dwindled down to 32. 32 people watching. I thought for sure, as soon as I started talking about earthquakes here in the Pacific Northwest, the number of people would be watching would grow. That hasn't happened for whatever reason. But guys, if you want to start out this program just barely watching the first part of our program, you got another thing coming. This is the main deal. This is the main deal. Earthquakes are happening at the volcanoes and up and down the entire coastline of Oregon and Washington. I'm about to show you what exactly is going on here. If you want to find out what's going on here in the Pacific Northwest, stay tuned, because I'm going to show you. Astoria, Oregon. Astoria, Oregon. I'm going to have to lower, or not lower, I'm going to have to condense this diagram down to some size here. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to see it. Okay? Up at the top of this diagram here, the seismogram is a computer readout coming from the seismograph, which is a computer. The seismograph is a computer where the leads are buried deep inside the earth near specific locations. They are sensors buried deep inside the earth to tell us what is going on in that area. This is Astoria, Oregon. This is Astoria, Oregon. Notice here at the top left. This is just after midnight, 0040 hours, 40 minutes after midnight last night. Look what's not happening. What are they showing us? Nothing. Not showing us anything on the seismogram. Nothing here. They don't show us anything here until this afternoon. Nothing here until this afternoon. Let's show this. Okay? Showing you this. On the red line here. This red line here, guys, is 1:30 this afternoon, 2:30 this afternoon. 2:30 this afternoon. Over here on the far right, all they're showing here are just microquakes and some tiny tremors. Microquakes and some tiny tremors. On the next black line here, that is 3:20, 3 o'clock this afternoon. 3 o'clock this afternoon. About 3:04, 3:05, we have some tremors. 3 to 6 more tremors. Throw away another tremor. We come over here to the right to 3:11. 3:11 p.m. 2.5 earthquake. 2 minutes later, we have a 2.3 earthquake here. This is false reporting. They are not wanting to show us exactly what's going on here. There's a lot more earthquakes that are happening here near Astoria, Oregon. There always have been. They're only showing earthquakes here early this afternoon. That's it. That's it. That's very sad. That's a very sad state of affairs. Let's go over to Coos Bay, Oregon. Coos Bay, Oregon. This is a little bit different here. Just a little bit different. In this case, we're talking about 7 p.m. last night. 7:15 p.m. on the red line here. On the red line. Coos Bay, Oregon. Look at the thickness of these lines. Look at the thickness of these lines. The thicker the line, the more magma going through the magma channel down beneath the surface. This is not a volcano. This is Coos Bay, Oregon. Magma flowing through the surface of the earth here, headed for the volcanoes. Headed for the volcanoes. Look at these lines here. These are thick lines. This represents a lot of magma flowing through the earth here near Coos Bay, Oregon. The same thing here at
Location, Sea, class, light, magnitude, 4.0, 8 minutes ago.
Banda Sea over in Indonesia. Another moderate earthquake there. But again, look at the next black line here. 1900 hours, 7 p.m. You can see these blobs of magma here. These blobs of magma have little lines going through them. The little lines are fracturing. Magma fracturing the rock inside the magma chamber, causing earth movement. Causing earth movement here. Again, the thicker the lines, more magma flowing towards the volcanoes. The thinner lines, less magma. You can see what's going on here. You also see thinner vertical lines going up and down. Those are earthquakes and or tremors caused by magma fracturing the rocks here near Coos Bay, Oregon. Magma fracturing the rock causing earth movement here. That's why you see that. Coos Bay, Oregon is having earthquakes, guys. Why? Why? Because there's magma here. There's magma. Now, let me increase the size of the seismograph. We'll come down here to after 23:20, which is 11:20 last night. Lines got really thin. They started getting really thin at 11:15 on the red line. Just about 11:17, 11:18 this morning, or last night, 11:18 last night, all of a sudden less magma started flowing here. Less magma here. Now we are going to see tremors here. Tremors. Then we come down here. Okay? Before we do that, at 5:15 this morning, on that red line there, we come down here. below that header there, below that green header. Now here we are at 7:40 a.m. this morning, 7:30 a.m. this morning on the blue line. You still have thicker lines here. They get even thicker. As I said, the thicker the lines, more magma flowing over here into the volcanoes to the east. That's what's happening here at Cruz Bay. You see vertical lines here? The vertical lines are tremors and or earthquakes that are happening as a result of magma going here, fracturing rock in the magma chambers, and we have earth movement, earthquakes. That's what's happening here at Coos Bay. Coos Bay is not a volcano. This is where magma is flowing off the Pacific plate, come over here to land on the North American plate. Land on the North American plate. Okay? Coos Bay, Oregon. Now, let's look at Elsie, Oregon. Elsie, Oregon here. Okay? Up at the top. You see a lot of activity, huh? You see a lot of activity. Let's take a look at this. First thing you see is the red line here after 1900. 1900 is 7 p.m. The red line indicates 7:15 though. The red line indicates 7:15. The black line is 1900 hours, 7 p.m. Here you see tremors. Lots and lots of tremors. The first earthquake you see is after 2120, say 2122, 9:02 p.m. last night. 9:02 p.m. last night, we had a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake here. That's that vertical black line there. Further down here, you see more vertical lines here. Over to the right, on the black line here. That black line here, excuse me just a second. That black line here is 10 p.m. on the left-hand side. 10 p.m. on the left-hand side. Over here on this side, this is approximately 10:11 p.m. last night. That's a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. Off to the right, a 2.4 earthquake. 2.4 earthquake. 2.4 earthquake happens at 10:13 p.m. 10:13 p.m. last night. With this, nothing but tiny tremors here after that. Now, as I said before, it's my belief that the seismologist turned down the strength, turned down the sensitivity of these seismographs after a certain time period at night, because otherwise they would have to explain earthquakes after 11, 12, midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3, 4, 5, even 6 o'clock in the morning. All you see are blips here. All you see are blips after 10 p.m., 10:30. Tiny blips here. All the way down here. There's a problem. There's a problem here, guys. Why? What is happening here? Let me show you. All you're seeing is tiny blips, which would normally be microquakes and tremors. But look here on this blue line. You're seeing what appears to be a minor tremor, 1.2 tremor here. But this is after 9 a.m. this morning. Guys, this is Elsie, Oregon. Usually we see a lot more earthquakes than this. Not just tremors, but we have minor earthquakes, and we also have small 3.0 earthquakes that hit here at LC, Oregon every day. Why are they not showing them? What may have happened here is that they have decided not to be honest with any of us. Not to be honest with any of us. Not telling us what is exactly going on. They have turned down the magnification on the seismograph. They have turned down the sensitivity of the seismograph. It's not showing anything. That's what I believe happened here. They don't want anybody to believe what's going on here. Just tiny tremors all day long. That's not what happens, guys. This is not what happens. They did this on purpose to try to tell us nothing is happening. Nothing's happening, but there is. If there were earthquakes off of the ocean, Port Orford, there certainly are earthquakes here at LC, Oregon. There certainly are earthquakes everywhere. Everywhere. All over Washington and Oregon. They just do not want to show us what's happening. They don't want to be honest about what's going on here. At all. At all. Let me show you another one here in Oregon. Seaside, Oregon here. Seaside, Oregon here. Okay? This particular seismograph is showing us activity after 7 p.m. last night, 7:15 on the red line. Look what's going on here. We have tremors and microquakes caused by magma. Tremors and microquakes caused by magma here. This is by the seashore, Oregon. Seaside, Oregon. Look at all these tremors here.
Earthquake upgraded to 5.0 from 4.8. Location, Tajikistan Xinjiang border region. Class, moderate. Depth, 92 miles, 34 minutes ago.
34 minutes ago at Tajikistan. They said there was a 4.8 earthquake in Tajikistan, just west of the Himalaya Mountains. Tajikistan, Afghanistan area. 4.8 earthquake, they now upgraded to a 5.0. Meaning the people in that area have lost possibly lives. Large earthquake in Tajikistan, 5.0, mud homes, unreinforced masonry, homes collapse, they lose their food, things get buried. Yeah, that's what's happening here. Now again, here, Seaside, Oregon. You see thicker lines here? Again, the thicker lines are magma going over the volcanoes here. Magma running beneath the earth here at Seaside, Oregon, coming off the Pacific plate, coming over here to the North American plate, headed for the volcanoes. These little blips on the seismogram is showing tremors here caused by the magma, fracturing rock inside the magma chambers, headed for the volcanoes here. That's what's actually happening. Look at this. Look at this going into this afternoon. Isn't that incredible? That's incredible, guys. This happens every day. This happens every day, guys. Every day without fail. Now, Let's go over to Let's go over to Washington first. Then I'm going to show you earthquakes in Washington. Then we'll go over to the volcanoes. Okay. Let's go over to the Puget Sound area, Fildago Island. Fildago Island here, guys. Look at this. Here we're seeing tremors. Lots and lots of tremors. Fildago Island. Okay. Lots and lots of tremors here. What exactly happened here on this blue line? This blue line here is 7:30 this morning. 07:30 this morning. Over here near the middle, this would be 7:08 this morning. 2.2, 2.3 earthquake. 2.22 point earthquake at Fildago Island in the northern Puget Sound area. Did they show this earthquake on the USGS map? No, they did not. They're not showing any of the tremors either. Look at all these tremors. They're not showing even one of the tremors either. Guys, this is the Puget Sound region of Washington. There are earthquakes here. Earthquakes through this entire region. Let's look at Grays Harbor. Look at this. This will get you a good sense of what's going on here. Again, over on the left-hand side is 1930 hours, 7:30 p.m., actually 7:15 p.m. on the red line. 7:15 p.m. on the left line on the left-hand side. Look what's happening here. We're seeing lots of tremors, aren't we? We're seeing a boatload of tremors here at Grays Harbor. All kinds of them. Look what happens here this afternoon. Look what happens here this afternoon, guys. After 10:30 in the morning on the top blue line here, below that header. We've gone from tremors to minor earthquakes here. We've graduated from tremors 1.0 to 1.9 to 2.0, 2.3 earthquakes. 2.0, 2.3 earthquakes here this afternoon. Grays Harbor, Washington. Did anybody see you at the USGS map showing 2.2, 2.3, 2.4 earthquakes here, Grays Harbor on the USGS map? Not one. Nothing on the USGS map at all. They showed one earthquake in southern Washington. That's all. I just got through showing you a ton of tremors here in the Puget Sound area. Grays Harbor also, minor earthquakes as well. But again, they're not showing anything at all. Why not? Inquiring minds want to know. Let's continue here. Guaymas Island, also in the Puget Sound region. Look at this. Look at this. 9:15 on the top red line. What's happening on this red line here? Okay. This red line here is after 9:15. Okay. About 9:08, 9:09. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. 9:06, actually 9:08, 9:09. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Look at all these tremors as well. All kinds of tremors here, and then look at this. We have thicker lines here. Thicker lines. What's happening here? This is Guaymas Island, Washington. Down inside the island, there are magma chambers. Magma chambers hiding out, probably headed to Glacier Peak. These thicker lines represent magma headed to the volcanoes again. That's what's happening here. On this particular diagram, you're seeing tremors and minor earthquakes here. Tremors and minor earthquakes, you're also seeing magma headed to probably Glacier Peak. Crazy, huh? I'm not done. I'm not done. Let's keep going here. Now, let's go north to Mount Baker. Let's take a look at Mount Baker right here. This is the main seismogram here at Mount Baker. Okay, what's it showing? Almost nothing. Almost nothing. Yes, we see these lines here. They're very thin. Very thin. But here after 9 o'clock p.m. last night on this black line, 9:02 going into 9:03, we see some blips here. Tiny tremor here. Tiny tremor. The magma coming into Mount Baker caused a tremor here. Interesting. Interesting. Now, guys, I tried to locate the seismogram coming from the ski resort at Mount Baker. It's called Shuxon. I did not find the seismogram for Shuxon. Shuxon seismogram would tell us what's going on with the volcano. It would tell us the magma coming into Mount Baker. It would talk about the magma coming into Mount Baker. How's that possible? How's it possible? That particular seismogram is the HHN channel. The HHN channel shows wavy lines. Wavy lines. The wavy lines constitute magma coming into Mount Baker. They're not showing it. They're not showing it. Let's go over to Mount Constitution, 40 miles southwest of Mount Baker. Look what's happening here. Look what's happening here. Tremors, guys. Tremors. Over the top 915 line, red line, you see a fairly thin line here, but it's thicker in places here. Magma coming into Mount Constitution as well. Here you've seen a bunch of tremors here, all kinds of tremors, probably 400 or 500 tremors here at Mount Constitution. Why? The tremors are caused by magma fracturing rock inside Mount Constitution, causing earth movement. Causing earth movement. That's what's going on here at Mount Constitution. Look at that. All kinds of tremors happening here at Mount Constitution. Did USGS show any of this? No, they did not. Didn't show anything at the volcanoes at all. At all. What's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture? Let's go over to Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier. Guys, this sensor here is on the west side of Mount Rainier. It's called STAR. STAR, St. Andrew's Rock. Several weeks ago, we showed you the seismogram here. It showed earthquakes here. Lots and lots of earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. The other seismograms didn't show anything at Mount Rainier at all. Nothing. They deactivated the seismographs at Mount Rainier. But this one here at St. Andrew's Rock showed us earthquakes here. What is it showing us here today? Look at these lines here. Up at the top is gibberish. Up at the very top here is gibberish. After that, we're seeing harmonic tremors again. Harmonic tremors hitting here at Mount Rainier, on the western side of Mount Rainier. Lava causing the ground to vibrate. Lava coming into Mount Rainier causing the ground to vibrate. That's what's causing these harmonic tremors. Harmonic tremors here at Mount Rainier. But that's not all, folks. There's more. Look what's happening down here. Here it's more than just ground vibration here. It's more than just harmonic tremors. We're seeing some tremors and minor earthquakes happening here. 1.6, 1.8, 1.9, 2.0 minor earthquakes hitting here. 2.0 minor earthquakes hitting here at St. Andrews Rock, west of Mount Rainier. On the west side of Mount Rainier. Okay? That's what's actually happening here. Let's keep going here. Let's go over to Camp Muir. Camp Muir. Camp Muir is on the north side of the volcano. Camp Muir is on the north side of the volcano. What's going on here? Up to the top, all you see are tiny tremors. Tiny 1.0 tremors at best. At best. Sometimes you're seeing 1.3, 1.4 tremors here as well. Now here you are also seeing some longer vertical lines. Longer vertical lines here. Look at this longer vertical line here on the right center here. The right center here. This earthquake is at 1:11 a.m. this morning. 1:11 a.m. this morning. This is a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. 1:11 this morning at Mount Rainier. Do you remember what you saw at Mount Rainier on the USGS map? Nothing. Not a darn thing here. They should have shown this here. They could have, but they refused to do it. They refused to do it. On this red line here, okay? This red line here, guys, is after 6:15 this morning. 6:15 this morning. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake. 2.1 minor earthquake. Look at the rest of the seismogram. Nothing else. Tremors mostly, that's it. But again, on the USGS map, they didn't even show tremors here. Usually on the USGS map, they'll show microquakes and tiny tremors. They don't even do that today at all. They're not showing any earthquake at all here, or any idea of earthquakes, anything going on here at Mount Rainier. Nothing. Not a darn thing. Let's take a look at Camp Sherman. Camp Sherman. Camp Sherman is on the south side, upper side of Mount Rainier. Camp Sherman today. Harmonic tremors. Harmonic tremors all day long. Camp Sherman, you guys, on the south side of Mount St. Helens. Harmonic tremors here. You saw harmonic tremors on the west side. This is the south side here. Nothing big, right? Nothing big yet. I haven't showed you everything. Let's go over Emerald Ridge. Emerald Ridge, guys. Emerald Ridge. Here on the top side here, this is just after 9:15 p.m. on the red line on the left-hand side. You're seeing some long duration tremor activity. Long duration tremor activity lasting anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes is all. Look at this. Here's seeing a lot of tremor activity. But this afternoon, what happened? Right there, on the red line. This red line here is 5:15 this afternoon. 5:15. Again, you're seeing thicker lines here. The thicker lines represent some magma coming into the magma chamber. They've been thicker than other times. This one is fairly thin, but it's still showing earthquake activity, showing magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount Rainier. What's going on here? You see some magma coming in here, going from 2.0, 2.2, all the way up to 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here, caused by magma fracturing the rock inside the volcano. Magma fracturing the rock inside the volcano here. Emerald Ridge, Mount Rainier. Emerald Ridge, Mount Rainier. Isn't that something? We've seen earthquakes before here at Camp Sherman all the time. The other seismographs didn't show it. This one does. Interesting. Let's go south to Mount St. Helens. Let's go south to Mount St. Helens, see what happens there. Let's go over to East Dome. The seismograph sits over here on the top of the volcano, the summit of the volcano, the caldera floor. The caldera floor, guys, what is that? I showed you that on Kilauea. The caldera floor is where the magma last erupted at the volcano and the lava got cold and hardened, didn't it? That's a caldera. In this case, there is a seismograph sitting on top of the summit, on the caldera floor. In this case, what are we seeing here? What are we seeing, guys? Harmonic tremors here. Lots and lots of harmonic tremors, literally all night long. All night long until this morning. That's what changes here. After 1:30, 1:42, 1:45 this morning, all of a sudden, we have tremors. Tremors, guys. Mount St. Helens is having tremors, not just harmonic, but volcanic tremors, causing earthquakes, causing small fractures of rock inside the magma chambers of this volcano. Look at this afternoon. What are we seeing here? We're seeing earth movement here radicalized. Again, we're seeing more and more magma here. In this case, the lines got wider, showing us more and more magma here, but the vertical lines going up and down here are tremors caused by magma fracturing the rock inside the volcano, causing earth movement. That's what's going on here at Mount St. Helens, east of Mount St. Helens. Now, I just happened to pick up another seismogram here at Mount St. Helens. It's called September Lobe. September lobe. The September lobe seismograph picks up earthquakes here. It's picking up tremors and minor earthquakes here. It's picking up tremors and minor earthquakes here. This morning, late last night, 7 p.m., just tiny tremors here. Tiny tremors. On the blue line after midnight, after 8:30 last night, 8:30 last night on the blue line on the left-hand side. Go over here to the right. This would be 8:42 last evening. 8:42 last evening. Okay? We had a 2.3, 2.4 earthquake last evening here at Mount St. Helens. No, it's not showing on the East Dome seismograph, but it's showing here at September lobe, which is also a seismograph sitting on top of the volcanic slab there, that great big huge caldera. This is sitting north on the north side of the caldera. We're picking up more earthquakes here. You are also seeing a bunch of tremors here as well. Earth movement. Earth movement. Now down here on this side of the seismograph. Again on this black line this time. The black line this time is after 2 p.m. 2 p.m. on the left-hand side. In this case, this is about 2:10 p.m. This case is a 2.1, 2.2 earthquake. 2.1, 2.2 earthquake here this afternoon. Seismic activity is happening at these volcanoes because the magma inside the volcano is moving. The magma inside the volcano is moving here at Mount St. Helens. Let me show you another seismogram coming from September lobe. The September lobe seismograph is a multi-channel seismograph. It's like a 5-channel seismograph. In this case, this is going to show us a lot of activity. A ton of activity, guys. A ton of activity. Look at this. See these wavy lines here? These are what they call very low frequency waves. These very low frequency waves are generated by the magma coming into the magma channel, into the volcano here. The tighter the VLF waves, the more magma that's coming into the volcano. The more agitated these VLF waves become, the more magma that's coming into the volcanic chamber of the volcano. In this case, it's not very violent, but you're still seeing these VLF waves. There is a lot of magma coming into Mount St. Helens volcano. A lot. Now, I tried to download the same thing at Mount Rainier. It didn't work. They would not allow me to download that seismogram. I tried downloading the VLF wave seismogram from Emerald Ridge. Again, it would not let me do that. But I'm telling you, the same thing that's going on here at Mount St. Helens is also going on at Mount Rainier. Both volcanoes are very active. Both volcanoes are very active. And they're showing signs that they could erupt in the near future. They're showing activity that says they could erupt in the near future possibly at any time. Okay? We've talked about eruptions at Mount St. Helens before. We're going to talk about it again in the near future. Let's go south to Mount Hood. I'm going to stop at Mount Hood today. I have seismograms showing Newberry Volcano. I have seismograms showing Sisters Volcano as well, and also Crater Lake. Nothing's going on really at those volcanoes, though. Very little, if anything. But Mount Hood. I want you to see what's going on here at Mount Hood. This is important. This is important. This is Timberline. The Timberline seismogram is coming from Government Camp, the lower south side of Mount Hood. Lower south side of Mount Hood. This top line here is 7:15 p.m. yesterday evening. This is a little bit elevated here. The red line here is a little bit thicker. You see thinner and thicker lines here, which is showing you magma or less magma. The thicker the line, the more magma. The thinner the line, less magma. Okay? That's what's going on. Okay? But here at Mount Hood, this is a little bit different story. Let's take a look at this. Yes, you're seeing earthquake activity here. This red line here is after 1:15 this morning. This is about 1:04, 1:05 this morning. In this case, this is a 2.2 earthquake caused by magma coming into Mount Hood. You see thicker line here, and then diminishing thicker line here going into thinner line. It's called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. Thicker lines showing more magma, thinner lines less magma. Magma pulse signals. Okay, in this case we have a 2.2 earthquake. Then we come down to this next green line or blue line here. This blue line here is 2:30 in the morning on the left-hand side. We come across here to the right center here. In this case, again, you see the line increasing in width, increasing in size, more magma here. More magma here equals an earthquake. The vertical line here is a 2.0 earthquake. Multiple 2.0 earthquakes here, caused by magma. Then guys, what do we have here? After 1:30 this morning on the blue line, more 2.2, 2.4 earthquakes, 2.5 earthquakes here? Yes. On the red line here, 4:15 this morning on the left-hand side. 4:06, 4:07 on the over here where you see earthquakes on the red line here. 4:06, 4:07 time period. 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes here. Earthquakes caused by magma going into the magma chamber of this volcano. Timberline, Mount Hood, Government Camp. Government Camp is the lowest side of Mount Rainier, where there are buildings, where there is a seismograph sitting here at Government Camp, measuring the earthquakes happening here, measuring the amount of magma coming into the magma channel here at Mount Hood. Let me show you one more here. Let me show you one more seismograph here. This is important as well. Also add what? Mount Hood. Again, you're seeing view of waves here. Magma coming into Mount Hood. The previous seismic Government Camp showed you earthquakes. This is showing you magma coming into Mount Hood. This is coming from where? Where's it coming from? Guys, this is coming from Palmer Lift. No, I'm sorry, it's not. This is coming from government camp just south of here. Just south of government camp called Hood Meadows. Look at the magma coming into Mount Hood here. Yes, there is activity here. No, it's not violent. Not violent. But we're seeing magma coming into the volcano here at Mount Hood. Then let's show you where we have earthquakes here. Okay? Just after 2 a.m. this morning. 2 a.m. this morning, we have some tremors. About 2:01, we have our 2.0 earthquakes. 2.0 earthquakes caused by magma. Again, the line got thicker, didn't it? The line got thicker. Magma coming in the volcanic chamber here at Mount Hood. In this case, fracturing the rock, causing earth movement, causing earthquakes. That's what happened here. And you see the magma coming in the volcano here. Anytime you see the VLF waves, you know that there's magma coming into the volcano. When the magma gets violent, more violent like right here, the more activity with the VLF waves shows more earthquakes. Usually when we see more activity like this with the VLF waves, we're going to see more earthquakes. More magma coming into the volcano causing earthquakes. That's what we saw in that previous diagram. Again, Mount Hood is active. No, it's not active as Mount Rainier or Mount St. Helens, but it is active. We do have earthquakes hitting Mount Hood. We have earthquakes hitting Mount Newberry Volcano, hitting Sisters Volcano, hitting Bachelor, what they call now Moon Volcano, Crater Lake as well. They're hitting. Now, earlier tonight, we had our buddy Daryl here talking about firefighting activities in Southern Oregon. There's a wildland fire going on. Last night, there were evacuations from that area. Evacuations. Now, I hope, Daryl, that you're going to get some rain there. I hope you're going to get some rain there. That rain will help put out that fire. The rain should help put out that fire. People might be able to come back to their homes by now. Daryl, are you still here with us? I hope he is. I hope he is. I would love to find out that people have been able to go back to their homes. In this case, in Southern Oregon, the fire was spreading with such wind power, such wind gusts, that it was blowing the fire right into a home area, right into a residential area. Yes, they evacuated homes. I don't know of any homes that were particularly destroyed or any damage, but they evacuated them on the idea that something was going to happen. No, I don't see Daryl here. He might have gotten back off. I'm sorry about that. We have our sister here, Sister Linda Covington, here from Virginia. She says, I may appear as a real jerk, but with all the worldly problems, socialist Virginia, Minnesota, New York City, Greenland, Ireland, or Iran, I care about earthquakes, volcanoes, and weather affecting U.S. territories. I agree. I care about it all. That's why we talk about it. That's what we talk about. We talk about earthquakes primarily, but we have to pay attention to everything. When people's lives are in danger, we talk about the whole shoot match. Talk about the whole kit and caboodle. When lives are in danger, we're talking about it. I want to make sure we're aware of it. I'm asking everybody, do not go out and protest. Do not go out and protest. If you guys get tangled up with the police, you might get shot. You might go to jail. You might get hurt. Don't go there. Don't go there. The other day we showed you video from people in Minneapolis getting sprayed with CS gas. CS gas. It's not fun. I had pepper spray on my duty belt. I still have pepper spray in my closet above my clothes in my closet. I have my police canister of pepper spray. Pepper spray is real. When Commander Bovine from the Border Patrol went out with these troops over out in the streets this past Friday and Saturday, you saw a video of him opening up a can and activating a can of pepper spray. Then you saw him rear back and toss that can of pepper spray into the crowd of protesters. Guess what happens? Some of those protesters were not wearing gas masks. Other protesters had gas masks, but guess what? That only protects their face, their eyes, and their nose and their mouth. When pepper spray hits your skin, it burns. It's a burning sensation. No, it does not actually burn the skin, but there's a burning sensation. It's not pleasant at all. It's not pleasant at all. Police are required to go through pepper gas training at least once a year. At least once a year. Every police officer that's out on the street today has to be retrained with pepper spray. They have to go out on the shooting range 3 or 4 times a year, usually quarterly, to retrain. They go back to the police academy once a year to find out about new laws or revision of laws so they will know what to arrest for and what they can or can't arrest for. They go back to training for also first aid and CPR, making sure every officer is current. Yes, Linda, they have to go through taser training as well. Now, I gave away my taser to an on-duty police officer. My taser was police use only. Yes, you can buy stun guns as a civilian. I don't want to get near enough to use a stun gun. I do not want to get near enough any individual to use a stun gun. But pepper spray is active within 7 to 8 feet. I can press a lid on the top of the pepper spray and spray a stream out to 7 or 8 feet away from me. That's the closest I ever want to get to anybody. Tasers, 15 to 20 feet. Let me tell you something. As a police officer, people have knives out there. People have knives. Knives are very effective. Up to 20 to 25 feet away, they are very effective. At closer ranges, they're deadly. They're deadly. Okay? As a police officer, we were told if someone gets within 20 feet with a knife, shoot them. We were told as police officers, if a suspect with a knife started approaching, was within 20 feet of us, to take him out, neutralize him. Because if he gets within 20 feet, he can either throw that knife or he can come up here and tear you apart with that knife. Yeah. So if someone had a knife, we took him out, neutralized him. Laura Marie is here with talking about bear spray. Don't use bear spray. Don't use bear spray. Why? Because bear spray is for bears. Bear spray is to stop bears. If you have a can of bear spray, you spray a human. It's a chemical. It's stronger than pepper spray and stronger than mace. Mid-range 4.4 moderate earthquake in the Molucca in Indonesia. Earthquake happens all over the place, but they're still not showing all the earthquakes. Go figure. But bear spray, guys, is illegal. If you have bear spray, it's not a felony or a misdemeanor to possess it. But if you use it on a human being, you can kill them. Or you can hurt them bad. The bear spray will get in their sinuses and get in their eyes, could blind somebody. It's strong enough to blind somebody. Bear spray gets in the throat or in the nose and they're toast. Gets down in their esophagus, gets down in their airways, and they're toast. Stop them breathing. That doesn't happen with mace or pepper spray, but it's still very effective. Pepper spray and mace will make you think you can't breathe. It will make you think you can't breathe. Paintballs. Paintballs are effective for one reason. Why? Why do you think people use why police use paintballs? They sting. And they also mark individuals with paint. They mark individuals with paint. And when individuals show up at the hospital rooms and saying they got hot with a paint gun, the doctors can say that was police caused. And they will call the police on that individual and have the police meet them at the hospital. They might not tell the individual themselves, but there's a difference between a paintball that a police officer uses and a paintball that you can buy for citizens to use at paintball matches. There's a total difference. Okay? Paintballs sting like nothing else. They leave a gaping patch of skin. They cause a bruise on skin. Huge bruises. Huge bruises. When my son was an Explorer Scout, his Explorer Scout troop wanted to go to a paintball tournament. So we took him to a paintball tournament. I just happened to have a spare police vest, a ballistic vest. That way at least his back and his chest were protected from paintballs, because those paintballs hurt and hurt like mad. They hurt bad. Okay? He got hit in his upper arms. Bad. He had huge welts on his arm from the paintball hitting his arms. That happens anywhere on your arms. He had huge welts on his upper arms. I gave him protective glasses. I gave him protective glasses to help protect his eyes, and we told all the boys to wear protective glasses as well. You're not allowed to shoot paintballs at anybody's face. Whether you are a civilian or police, you're not allowed to shoot paintballs at people's faces. But anywhere else on the body, it hurts and leaves paint. There's a reason. Number one, it stings like I'll get out. Number two, leaves paint. And that way, if you see somebody that got hit by paint, you know that a police officer fired that paintball. They also fire balls from their guns for mace and pepper spray. They send out balls of pepper spray that hit people. And yes, it hurts like I'll get out. But it also sends pepper spray in a wide area, up to like a 20-foot wide area. And anybody gets hit with one of those is in trouble. Again, one, it'll hurt. Two, make you think you can't breathe. It will also burn a sensation on your skin. You won't burn your skin, but you'll have a burning sensation on your skin. Not fun. Not fun. I went through pepper spray training once a year at the police academy. Yes, I went through taser training. I was a taser instructor. As a taser instructor, I had to teach my police officers and civilians what a taser felt like. I had police officers tase me 3 times a year. 3 times a year. It's not fun at all. When you get tased, these pinpricks stick through your clothing into your skin and send an electrical charge into your skin and incapacitates anyone getting hit with a taser. Incapacitates that person, making them totally impervious to anybody trying to handcuff them. Okay? Their total nerve system goes nuts. Allows police officers to come in and arrest them and bringing them into custody. It's not fun at all. Every year I was tased at least 3 times. It's not fun at all. It does not stop hearts. Now, if I had a person that had a pacemaker on his body, it might cause problems with that pacemaker. In that case, he put himself in a position to get tased. He put himself in a position to get tased. In this case, it is his fault. That's a fact. That would have made it his fault for being there. My buddy Don Patoga is also here in the chat. He's one of my moderators here. I love and appreciate all my moderators. You guys are awesome. Batons are not a good choice either. I was a police baton instructor. As an instructor, every time I taught a class, I also got struck with police batons. My arms, the meaty part of my arms here and here, I got struck with batons. I got struck in the arms also. Police officers are not to strike anybody in the chest, the back, the neck, or the head. The joints, the head, the neck, the back, the spine, or the chest are not hit strike points. But arms and legs are. Arms and legs are. And I used my baton many times to take weapons from people. I used my baton many times to take weapons from people and stop the assault. I said a few weeks ago when we talked about weapons being used in Minneapolis, you saw the Chicago police chief talk about weapons training. Police officers are taught that they are able to use deadly force or any force that is necessary to stop the assault. Any force up to including deadly force that is necessary to stop the assault. That's why we do what we do. We use non-lethal force first if we're able to. Non-lethal force first if we're able to. Number 1, tasing somebody. Number 2, gas. Number 3, batons. Batons. Batons can break bones. Batons can break bones. When I was a police officer, one of the officers went through training with me. Gosh, I almost said his name. I'm not going to do that. This man was a good cop, a very good cop. But he got a bad guy one night. He and his partner got a bad guy, a military member, a Navy idiot, low-grade military person. That man had committed crimes, violent crimes, forcing those officers to handcuff that individual. That individual was taken to his boat, taken to his ship, where the ship was responsible for him. The commanding officer of the ship told that police officer to take off the handcuffs, take the handcuffs off the man, which they did. They were obligated to obey that commanding officer. And at that point, the commanding officer was responsible for that man and his actions. When the police officers took the handcuffs off the man, he attacked the police officers. He attacked the police officers. My friend drew his baton off his left side. He was right-handed. His baton was on his left side. He drew his baton like this. Then he struck the man. He struck the man like this. The man ducked. The man ducked. He did not want to get struck on his arms or legs. He ducked, causing the officer to accidentally strike him in the head. That's not a good thing. That officer spent the next 10 years of his life in a federal prison. That officer spent the next 10 years of his life in a federal prison because the commanding officer of that ship and that military member, that Navy BS guy, took him to court and sued him for wrongful use of force. 10 years later, the officer and his attorneys went back to court and found that the commanding officer of that ship and that military member had lied in court. Lied in court. But my friend had already spent 10 years of his life in jail. 10 years of his life in jail, wrongfully. Meantime, his wife had to sell their house to try to pay for his court costs, pay for his attorney. They lost their home. She divorced him, took his kids away from him. 10 years of his life ruined because of a military member and a Navy officer lying in court. Yes, they are now behind bars for 50 years. They were sentenced to 50 years behind bars for what they did to that officer. Okay? That's what happens. That's what happens. Linda Covington is asking about rubber bullets. Do the police issue rubber bullets? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But I'm going to tell you this. Not every department has rubber bullets. Not every department has rubber bullets, nor do they issue them. Nor do they issue them. Yes, rubber bullets hurt. They don't penetrate the skin, but they hurt. And they leave small welts all over the body. All over the body. I was trained with rubber bullets. I shot at screens showing bad guys on video screens. We shot the bad guys on video screens. Rubber bullets hurt. They hurt like all get out. The pain can cause total effectiveness of nerve use. Total effectiveness of nerve use. They limit what you can do. You're in such pain you forget about anything else, allowing cops to come in there and arrest you. But again, rubber bullets are not usually used because most departments don't have them. That's fact. That's fact. And only certain officers, if they do have them, are allowed to use them. Only those officers can use them if they have training. Like I said, not all police officers can use them. They don't have the training. And the departments don't even have the rubber bullets. Just don't. They just don't. Any other questions? These are all good questions, guys. But I want to make sure you understand the use of force. That's why I've been talking about it. You need to understand the use of force. Officers only can use that force which is reasonable and necessary to stop the attack. And that ends it. That has to end it right there. Any questions? Any questions? With everything going on in our communities, in our society, it doesn't matter whether it's here in the United States or overseas, in England or Switzerland or Sweden or Denmark or Czechoslovakia, it's all the same. Police officers are only able to do that force which is reasonable and necessary, and nothing else. It stops there. Stops there. Guys, I've been here on the air a long time. 3 hours now. I didn't mean to do that. I still want to share with you a scripture here. A scripture here in Hebrews chapter 8, verse 5. Here, the apostle is talking about who we are and what we can do as people, as servants in his kingdom. Okay? Verse 5. Okay? Who serve unto example. He's talking about the priests. Okay? Verse 4 says, for if it were on, he were on earth, he should not be a priest, seeing that there are priests that offer gifts according to the law. Okay? Like Jesus Christ. Who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished by God when he was about to make the tabernacle. For see, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern shewed to thee in the mount. God showed Moses how to build a tabernacle. God showed Noah how to build the ship, the ark. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is a mediator of a better covenant. Better covenant, a promise between us and God, which was established upon better promises. A covenant is a promise between God and us and God. A better promise or better covenant. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand and led them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regard them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. Each one of us are children and daughters of God. We are people of God, and we need to act like that. We need to act like people and children of God. We need to start treating each other like that as well. Let's do that, brothers and sisters. Let's treat each other as children of God, and we will be in a better place. We'll be able to make promises and covenants with the Lord. Let's do that. Brothers and sisters, I love you very much. I appreciate you helping me. I appreciate you also giving us donations here to our program to keep this show on the air. I appreciate you attending these conferences on this channel. That way we get the information to you that you can use in your life. I love you. I love you. I am only the Lord's servant here. I am only the Lord's servant here. I can only do as much as the Lord allows me to do. But I will tell you this, I love you. We pray for you, each of you, every day. You and your families. We pray for each of you every day. May God be with you this day and always. May God protect you. May God hold you even in the palms of his hands. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love. See you tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about the new Madrid Fault and also Southern California. See you then. God bless. Good night.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright. We're always learning, always striving to be better, bring you the most up-to-date information, no matter the weather. Emergency Management Associates is here for you now and forever, it's true. Keep watching,